From the very first moment he stepped into the golden ballroom of his mansion, Ethan Harrington felt something was wrong. The lights were dimmed just enough to cast soft glows across the marble floor, and the faint sound of a piano floated through the air. But what truly froze him in place was the sight unfolding before his eyes: his son, the little heir of one of the richest families in the city, laughing with complete joy, while being gently guided in a dance by the mansion's cook, a woman he barely noticed in his daily life. She held his son's hands with elegance, moved with flawless grace, and carried herself like someone who had once belonged to a world far grander than the kitchen. Before the story continues, if you believe in kindness, compassion, and second chances, make sure to like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel, because stories like these deserve to be heard. Ethan stood silently for a moment, watching. His son, Daniel, a shy boy who rarely spoke and almost never smiled, was twirling with the cook as though he had known joy all his life. The woman, usually dressed in a plain apron and simple clothes, now looked like a completely different person. She wasn't wearing anything fancy, just her usual white dress, but something about the way she moved made the entire room feel warmer, alive, and magical. Ethan, who had always believed that happiness came from wealth and structure, suddenly felt painfully unaware of what truly mattered. Her name was Anna, the cook everyone appreciated but no one truly knew. She worked quietly, kept her head down, and never shared anything about her past. Ethan had hired her through an agency after his wife passed away, hoping someone gentle would be around for Daniel. But he never imagined she would impact his son this deeply. For months, Ethan had tried everything to help Daniel overcome the grief of losing his mother. Therapists, tutors, expensive programs, nothing worked. Daniel remained withdrawn, fearful of strangers, and unable to express emotions. Yet here he was, smiling, glowing, and letting a stranger guide him across the room as though they shared a bond no one else could understand. Ethan's heart twisted. Why her? Why not him? The jealousy was subtle but sharp. He had all the money in the world but couldn't give his son what this mysterious woman somehow could: comfort. But instead of interrupting, he stepped back into the shadows, watching as the two continued. He noticed something unusual: the way Anna moved was not just graceful, it was trained. Professional. Her posture, her control, the precision of her footsteps, they were unmistakably the marks of someone who had once lived in the spotlight. The next morning, Ethan asked the head housekeeper about Anna. The response was the same vague explanation he always heard: she was quiet, hardworking, and preferred privacy. Nothing else. Nobody knew anything. It was as if she had appeared out of nowhere. Days passed, and Ethan began observing Daniel closely. He started eating more, sleeping better, talking more. And every afternoon, he would slip away to the ballroom where Anna taught him to dance. She never knew Ethan watched from behind the half-open door, not in judgment, but in awe. She wasn't just teaching his son dance steps. She was teaching him confidence, presence, expression. She was healing him in ways money never could. One evening, Ethan gathered the courage to speak to her directly. But before he could say anything, he noticed something he had never paid attention to before: a small necklace around her neck, bearing the emblem of an international ballroom competition. A competition only elite dancers ever qualified for. His suspicion deepened. He asked politely about her past, hoping for honesty. But Anna simply lowered her eyes and replied softly, "Some things are better left in the past, sir." Yet the truth found its way to him anyway. A retired butler who had worked in many wealthy households recognized her. He whispered to Ethan, "Sir, she used to be one of the world's top dancers. She vanished after a terrible tragedy. Rumor was, her partner, the person she loved, died in an accident right before an important performance." The revelation struck Ethan hard. The pain she hid behind her soft smile suddenly made sense. The depth in her eyes. The gentle patience she showed Daniel. She wasn't just teaching him how to dance, she was giving him the strength she once needed for herself. Ethan felt something shift in his heart. Respect. Admiration. And guilt for never noticing her, never appreciating her sacrifices, never realizing that someone so extraordinary was living under his roof. But the real turning point came unexpectedly. One afternoon, Daniel asked Ethan to join their dance lesson. Ethan froze. He was a businessman, not a dancer. But the look in his son's eyes, hopeful, trusting, broke through every wall he had built. He stepped forward awkwardly, placing his hand in Anna's. She guided him gently, smiling with a kindness that eased every fear he had ever carried. In that moment, he realized something invaluable. Healing was not a luxury of the rich, it was a gift from the rare souls who walked into our lives with silent strength. As days turned into weeks, Anna became more than a cook. She became the light in their home, someone who restored life, laughter, and meaning. Ethan found himself looking forward to her presence more than he expected, drawn to her humility despite her incredible past. But he still had one question burning inside him: why choose to hide? Why live a life so small after having once lived so grand? One evening, after Daniel fell asleep, Anna finally spoke her truth. She told Ethan that fame had cost her everything: her love, her peace, her purpose. She left the world of lights not because she failed, but because it failed her. She came here to rebuild her spirit, to find a place where she could simply be human again. Ethan felt tears burn behind his eyes. He had spent years chasing success but had never understood what it meant to lose oneself in the process. Anna had. And she survived. Near the end of the story, I want to ask you, if this story touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. Your support helps us bring more emotional and inspiring stories to life. Before you leave, make sure to comment below. Kindness changes everything. As Ethan watched Anna and Daniel dance once more, he finally understood that the greatest treasures in life are not found in wealth, status, or power, but in the souls who enter our lives quietly and end up changing everything without ever asking for anything in return. And in that golden ballroom, under the sparkling chandeliers, a broken family found its missing pieces, all because of a woman who taught them that even the smallest acts of love can heal the deepest wounds.